Today's agenda for GSS 24 reflects the ambitious vision we share. Shortly, we'll discuss the World Standards Cooperation Ceremony, an event that celebrates the spirit of global collaboration. Voluntary, consensus-based international standards are the foundation upon which innovation thrives. And this ceremony will highlight how, together, we can drive progress in a global scale. Following this, we will move into the high-level segment where ministers, CEOs, and visionary leaders will come together to explore how we can collectively harness the transformative power of technologies like AI and the metaverse to accelerate sustainable digital transformation for all of us to create a bright future. We are also proud to host the first part of the International AI Standards Summit today, a critical event that will explore into the challenges and the opportunities for developing global standards for AI, ensuring trust, governance, and inclusivity in this rapidly evolving landscape. The choices are what we make today will define how AI serves our humanity. Later today, we will celebrate the incredible achievements of cities across the world in our United for Smart Sustainable Cities KPI ceremony today. Mayors and city leaders will share their experiences in improving lives through digital transformation in tangible and measurable ways. As we progress through this symposium today, it's essential to remember that our discussions are more than just conversations. They are building blocks of our shared digital future. At the end of the day, we will have an outcome of today's dialogue that will be captured in a formal document that we call GSS conclusions. These conclusions, what we will announce today at the end of the day, will shape the future of global digital policy and serve as cornerstone for the World Telecommunication Standardization Assembly, WTSA 24, which is starting tomorrow. Together, we are shaping a future where technology connects us, improves lives, and empowers communities. Each one of you, through your participation, your insights, your leadership, is contributing to a vision of world where no one is left behind in the digital revolution. Let's embrace this moment of possibility and collaborate together to create a digital future that is bold, inclusive, sustainable, secure, and built on trust. Thank you for your commitment, and I look forward to the inspiring and productive dialogues ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Rajkumar, for your leadership of the steering committee that led us to the program of GSS, and also for the drafting of the conclusions of GSS. It's been an intense labor over many months with the 6 regions of the ITU represented in the steering committee. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to welcome Dr. Niraj Mittal, Secretary, Department of Telecommunications, India. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Bilal. Honorable Minister for Communications and Department of Northeast, Shri Jyotiraditta Scindia, ITU General Secretary General, Ms. Doreen Martin, other colleagues on the dais. It's a pleasure for me to invite and see you all today, the long-awaited event to India, where deep tradition, culture, humanity meets innovation, technology, and standardization, work that is going to define the future of telecom for the next decade. The theme of GSS 24, charting the next digital wave, emerging technologies, innovation and international standards, resonates with this occasion. Technology has been changing rapidly, and we seem to be faltering behind. Many times as policymakers, we are very happy that this assembly is happening in India today, where India can lead this standardization path forward. Standards play an important role in interoperability, scalability, and security, as pointed out by Dr. Rajkumar Upadhyay. India cherishes the idea of Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, the world is one, which drove India's contribution to the 6G ubiquitous connectivity pillar, we need to have communications technology reach every nook and corner. It needs to be inclusive, it needs to be meaningful. The Telecommunications Engineering Center of Department of Telecom leads the standardization efforts in India. It helped, as I said, in the ubiquitous connectivity framework, has given leadership for developing frameworks in artificial intelligence, quantum communications, circular economy, greening the telecom ecosystem. The digital public infrastructure of India is well known to the rest of the world. Abraham Lincoln once said, the best way to predict the future is to create it. I think we are all here to create the future so that we can define the course of telecom for the benefit of humanity. I welcome you all again, and I hope you have a very pleasant stay here in India and a fruitful outcome for the telecommunications future. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mittal, for your opening remarks. It's always a pleasure to have you on stage, and thank you for your leadership leading us to this GSS. We had our first meeting a year ago for planning this event, and we look forward also this evening for your leadership of the informal head of delegation meeting. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now my pleasure to welcome Director of the Telecommunications Standardization Bureau, Onoe-san.
Excellency Shri Chicharaditya Scindia, Shri Najra Mittal, Shri Rajkumar Upadhyay, Excellencies, ITU Secretary General, colleagues and friends. Good morning to you all and warm welcome to the spectacular Pragati Maidan. What a wonderful way to mark World Standards Day. And what an outstanding opportunity India has given us. We hold a global standards symposium on the eve of the World Telecommunications Standardization Assembly, WTSA, the governing conference for ITU standardization work. It's our first WTSA in Asia, and I thank India once again for your great hospitality. The essential value of ITU is that we build collaboration to bring key innovations to global scale. That's more important than now than ever. Our discussion today will explore innovations in areas from the smart cities and virtual world to blockchain and open source. AI will feature prominently throughout. We all want AI to be governed responsibly in the best interests of everyone, everywhere. Standards and capacity building will be a foundation. We have seen great emphasis on that in 2024 from the Global Digital Compact, the G20, the high-level advisory body on AI, and ITU's AI for Good Global Summit. Together with ISO and IEC, we are well positioned to meet these expectations. But we need your help, your support. Whether you are in the government, industry, academia, or civil society, you can drive our work with your contribution and consensus decisions. If you are not already contributing to ITU standards, I'm certain that today's discussion will motivate you to join our global community. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Onoe-san, for your insightful remarks and for your commitment to fostering innovation through international standards. And now let us welcome our Secretary General, Ms. Doreen Bogdan Martin.
Namaste. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, fellow elected officials, good morning and happy World Standards Day. I think there's no better way to kick off the 5th Global Standards Symposium. So let me start by thanking our incredible host, the Government of India, represented by His Excellency, the Honorable Minister Scindia, and Niraj Mittal, and of course also to thank our GSS Chair, Dr. Rajkumar Upadhyay. We want to thank you for bringing so many leaders, so many innovators, and so many standard setters from around the world together in such a spectacular venue. Just a few weeks ago, I was in New York for the UN General Assembly and the Summit of the Future. And I can tell you, at the highest levels of global governance, standards are top of mind. It's no secret that the rise of artificial intelligence is partly why standards are in the spotlight. I like to think it's also because standards are more than mere technical specifications. They foster interoperability, promise innovation, and promote it, and crucially, can serve as safeguards, ensuring that in ways that uphold human rights. In the Global Digital Compact that was adopted by member states last month, we do see a consistent call for harnessing the power of standards. Now it's time to deliver on the promise of that compact. That's where GSS 24 is uniquely positioned to contribute. This symposium is already looking at how standards can help us chart the next digital wave, from AI to the metaverse to quantum computing. At a time when 1/3 of humanity is offline, GSS will also explore how standards can help to expand digital inclusion and foster trust in the digital economy. And we will identify concrete actions that stakeholders across government, industry, and the technical community can take to make the vision of a global digital compact a reality for all. Ladies and gentlemen, this World Standards Day, and every day, let's remember that our shared digital future has yet to be written. Working together to place standards at the very heart of our efforts, let's make sure it is inclusive, it's trustworthy, and beneficial to all of humanity. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Secretary General, for your inspiring words and your continued leadership. It is now with great honor that I welcome His Excellency, Minister Scindia, to deliver his opening remarks. Excellency, please.
Seated on the dais with me, Secretary General of the ITU, Ms. Doreen Bogdan Martin, ITU Director TSB, Mr. Oni, CEO of CDOT, R.K. Upadhyay, Secretary of Department of Telecom, Neeraj Mittalji, Deputy Director of ITU, and the wonderful Master of Ceremonies, Mr. Bilal Jamusi-ji, Excellencies, esteemed leaders, visionary pioneers, welcome to Bharat, welcome to India. India has always been a land of science. India has always been a land of innovation. India has always been a land of rules, abiding by them, for the prosperity of not only her people, but for the prosperity of the world. And therefore, it is only apt that at this juncture, where the world stands, where we are on the cusp of paradigm revolutions, which normally would take centuries or decades, that today tectonic shifts are happening in a matter of months and days, that we converge on India's land at this Global Standards Symposium and the WTSA. So a very warm welcome to all of you from Bharat Mata, from India. It's with profound honor and unbounded gratitude that I stand before all of you at the Global Standards Symposium. This is not only an esteemed gathering, but it's a congregation of the brightest minds of our time that today converge to chart the future course of an interconnected world. We find ourselves at a pivotal moment in history, standing at the crossroads of an exhilarating digital revolution. The innovations of today, and as Secretary General Doreen Martin said, the standards we establish and the collaborations that we nurture will shape an unprecedented era of global advancements. And this symposium serves as a beacon for facilitating global dialogue, a vital mission that unites international experts and leaders in discussing and building consensus on the standards that will support the global rollout of new technologies. And we are here today, ladies and gentlemen, not as representatives of our nations alone, but as architects of a shared technological future. The relentless is weaving new patterns into the fabric of each one of our economies and each one of our societies. And therefore, it's our collective duty to ensure that the decisions that we take today, rooted in both collaboration and foresight, become the bedrock upon which the next digital wave is built. The import of dialogue cannot be overstated. The wonders of 5G, the brilliance of artificial intelligence, and the interconnected marvels of the Internet of Things are transforming industries, societies, and manufacturing processes and economies on a global scale. Yet their full potential can only be realized through a united approach and by bringing together luminaries from across this globe. This symposium enables us to craft the standards that will ensure innovation will thrive not in isolation, but in harmony across borders, across our world. At the heart of this dialogue lies the critical role that international standards play in promoting innovation. It is through these shared foundations that groundbreaking technologies such as 5G, AI, cloud computing can truly flourish. These standards are the indispensable framework that ensures interoperability, enhances security, and fosters trust. Because without them, the advancements of today risk descending into disarray. The profound impact of 5G. This technology is not merely just faster internet, is not merely just low latency, but is laying the groundwork for intelligent cities, visionary infrastructure, and autonomous innovation. In India alone, for example, 5G is anticipated to inject an astounding $450 billion into the economy by 2040. And therefore, while we have rolled out 5G across all 36 states and union territories, covering 98% of our districts and 80% of our population in just 22 months, this is not only a feat of India alone, but it highlights the transformative power of standardized innovation. We are unlocking new realms of possibility in healthcare, in education, in agriculture, in manufacturing. And therefore, as we champion innovation, we must also confront the complexities of governance. AI as a marvel is reshaping the contours of how we store and process information. It's giving governments, companies, individuals unparalleled agility, unparalleled precision, unparalleled scalability. But its deployment must be guided by ethical considerations and a robust regulatory framework. Governance of AI, IoT cannot be just an afterthought, and we must address concerns of privacy, of bias, and of transparency, ensuring that these technologies serve as a force for good. India, too, has transformed herself in the last decade. Whether we look at the rollout of 5G, India's global stack, India's united payment interface, India's Aadhaar card system, India's DigiLocker, which stores almost 6.75 billion documents, serves 300 million users. All of these are being used as vehicles for international and global participation, ensuring that no one is left behind, ensuring inclusivity of digital access for every single citizen. In Africa, in Asia, agreements with Singapore, with Bhutan. And therefore, what is extremely important is enhancing governance and at the same time fostering social inclusion. We are today poised at the edge of a new technological era, the dawn of the sixth generation of mobile networks, 6G. And this is a gateway to the future where communication will become boundless, where innovation will know no limits, and where humanity's interconnectedness becomes the cornerstone of our shared global destiny. With ITU's guidance comes the need for a comprehensive policy framework, a framework that not only addresses the technical demand about the socio-economic implications of 6G, but we also envision a regulatory environment that promotes inclusivity, equity, and accessibility, a framework that encourages innovation while safeguarding the interests of the global community, a policy that fosters both competition and collaboration, ensuring that the benefits of 6G are distributed equitably and fairly without deepening the digital divide. And therefore, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, the choices we make today, the standards we set, and the partnerships we nurture will define the technological landscape not only for us, but for future generations. International standards, collaboration, and innovation will serve as the pillars of the next digital wave. And together, we can forge a future where technology transcends borders and empowers every nation and every individual. With these words, I welcome you all to the WTSA Global Standards Symposium in India. Thank you very much. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you very much, Minister Scindia, for sharing your valuable insights and for your dedication to advancing digital inclusion in India and beyond. We note very well your call for harmony through international standards. Ladies and gentlemen, before we move forward, I'd like to invite all the speakers from the opening ceremony to take a group photo, please.
So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, we thank our leaders for leading us and guiding us today. Can we have a round of applause, thanking the Honorable Minister, thanking the Secretary General ITU, thanking Director Telecommunications Standardization Bureau, Secretary Telecommunications, GSS Chair 2024, and yes, the moderator of the ceremony, of the inaugural ceremony, Dr. Bilal. Thank you. I would like to request, as we move into the next segment, would like to request Unu-san to remain here on the stage. And ladies and gentlemen, guided by our leaders here as we work towards collaborating and cooperating in the very spirit of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, one earth, one family, one future for all of us as we come together towards building more robust and harmonious standards across the world. Unu-san, may I request you to be here? So we move into the next segment, ladies and gentlemen, as we celebrate the World Standards Day. As was mentioned, every year we celebrate it on the 14th of October, celebrating it since 1970. And we all gather here to further come together in the very spirit of collaboration, cooperation, and innovating together, being architects of this next wave of transformation, which is going to be driving our digital future. As we celebrate the World Standards Day, I would like to introduce and invite here on the dais Ms. Christina Buetti, the counselor at ITU, to guide us through the World Standards Day ceremony. Christina, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Vime. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. On this occasion of World Standards Day, we celebrate the essential role that voluntary consensus-based international standards play in driving innovation and shaping the future of technology. Today, we recognize the efforts of standards developing organizations and the global collaboration that fosters the frameworks supporting the next wave of technological advancement. We will hear from leaders who are at the forefront of the international standards movement. Please join me to welcome Mr. Sergio Mujica, Secretary General, International Organizations for Standardization. Mr. Philip Metzger, Secretary General and CEO, International Electrotechnical Commission. To begin, it is my distinct pleasure to invite Mr. Seizo Noen to deliver his opening remarks. Thank you.
Thank you, Philip Metzger and Sergio Mujica, colleagues and friends. ITU, ISO, and IC are the leading developers of international standards. Together, we form the World Standard Corporation. We are guiding comprehensive, coordinated standards development for AI. And we want you to be a part of it. This week, we are hosting our first edition of our new International AI Standards Summit. We have launched a key standards collaboration on AI watermarking, multimedia authenticity, and deepfake detection. And we plan to develop an AI standards exchange database to bring AI standards from all standards bodies to everyone around the world. On World Standards Day, we celebrate the expert that gives life to our work and highlight that standards are essential tools for sustainable development. This World Standards Day, we are calling for your support on AI. We are united in the key message to AI stakeholders. Together, we offer a standardization platform that has earned the trust of innovators worldwide. We should take full advantage of this platform to ensure that AI provides a force for good. With every breakthrough in science and technology, we need to come together to develop the standards required to thrive in new frontiers. That's our standardization process are built for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Seizo Noen, for your inspiring words and for your leadership in advancing global telecommunication standards. Next, I'm honored to welcome the Secretary General of the International Organization for Standardization, Mr. Sergio Mujica.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, colleagues, friends, good morning and happy World Standards Day. Today, we celebrate the power of standards to support economic and social development, to protect the planet, and to protect people. We also celebrate our wonderful network of experts that create the standards, because they are, of course, not written in Geneva. This network of experts are appointed by the members from all around the world, and they work taking decisions by consensus in an inclusive manner, in a transparent manner, and making it sure that developing countries will have a voice. We also celebrate our collaboration, our friendship with the IEC and the ITU and ISO. We share values and we share our vision for a better world of standards contributing to the SDGs, to the Sustainable Development Goals. And with less than 6 years to 2030, we are not doing well. The latest report of the UN says that only 15% of the targets are on track. So the right question today is, how can we help? And in particular, for the focus of this year, SDG 9 on industry, innovation, and infrastructure. What can we bring to the table to help? First, our portfolio of existing standards, 25,000 of them. And we need to collaborate and combine our talents because the world needs clarity and not confusion in the standards that we produce. So please do not reinvent the wheel. Let's use what we have. Number 2, a platform to create standards based on trust, inclusivity, and transparency. Number 3, a conformity assessment that will bring credibility to the implementation of the standards. And finally, a real commitment to contribute to the SDGs and a real commitment to partnership. Let's combine our talents for a better world. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mujica, for your insightful remarks and your commitment to fostering global collaborations through standards. Finally, it is my privilege to introduce the Secretary General and CEO of the International Electrotechnical Commission, IC. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Metzger. Thank you.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, dear colleagues, Namaste. The IEC was founded to create a standardized system for electrical terminology and to ensure consistency, safety, and interoperability across different devices and systems. Those early goals remain essential. Today, we are celebrating the World Standards Day. In 2024, we are also celebrating the bicentenary of Lord Kelvin's birth, IEC's first president, his pioneering work in thermodynamics, his innovations in submarine cabling, and his work on electricity have all had a profound impact. Kelvin was a visionary. He embodied the spirit of scientific inquiry and international cooperation. Kelvin's legacy continues to inspire our work today as we continue to adapt as an organization to serve the evolving needs of stakeholders. Technology is constantly evolving. It connects and converges. With new technologies come new opportunities, but also new challenges. Standards, which in the past were often merely technical in nature, have to address increasingly complex issues that have societal dimensions as well. As technology converges, so does the work of standards organizations. The increasing greater collaboration and exchange between standard development organizations is promising. In a world that often focuses on division, it is encouraging to see SDOs promoting global, consensus-based development of tools that unite efforts across borders and make the world more sustainable. Whether it is artificial intelligence, climate action, or electrification for people Without access to the grid, standards are increasingly incorporating diverse inputs from different perspectives, making them more robust and universally applicable. Driving standards development is discussion and collaboration, as we are doing between ITU, ISO, and IEC under the umbrella of the World Standards Cooperation, WSC. It is only through collective efforts that we can meet the big challenges of our time. It is the spirit of global collaboration and consensus building that gives me hope that together we can effectively address these challenges. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Metzger, for your valuable insights and for your dedication to advancing the standards that power our digital world. This concludes the World Standards Day ceremony. I hope you find the speeches as inspiring as I did. As we move forward with today's sessions, let us carry with us the spirit of collaboration, cooperation, and innovation that these leaders have so eloquently highlighted. Before we move on, I would like to invite Mr. Seizo, Mr. Metzger, and Mr. Mujica to join us for a group photo to commemorate this important moment. Happy World Standards Day to all of you.
Thank you, Christina. So, ladies and gentlemen, once again, happy World Standards Day. And in this very spirit of collaboration and cooperation, we come together towards our shared goals and responsibility of harmonizing standards, respecting standards as we enter into this new wave of transformation and building a safe, secure digital future. Thank you, gentlemen. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, we now move into a short tea and coffee break. Tea and coffee is right across outside in the pre-function area, but would like to request all our distinguished speakers of the high-level segment to kindly, Christina is here to escort you to Bharat Mandapam, that's in the G20 Summit Room, level 2, where only the speakers, the distinguished speakers of the high-level segment are requested to be joining us in that room. The rest of the delegates and participants, you are requested after your tea to be joining us back here. 9:55 sharp, if you can be back here in this hall. 10 o'clock, we are going to be starting with the high-level segment, wherein we have our CEOs and the ministers joining us in that discussion with all the distinguished speakers who are for the high-level segment. May I request our representatives to be please guiding them, and Ms. Christina, just follow her as she leads you to the next room, which is across in the other hall. That's the G20 Summit room, the G20 Summit meeting room at level 2. That is where we have our speakers of the high-level segment, our CEOs, and the ministers. So it's a collaborative effort again, the interactions which take place between our ministers and the captains and the leaders of the industry, requesting all the live streaming the discussions in the G20 meeting room. Menti. Would like to mention here that here only the interpretation is now only in the English language. If you wish to have the interpretation in the other languages, you're requested to log in via the online mode, the website mode. But it's going to be, as far as the interpretation happening, it's only going to be in the English language for this segment. May I request you all to be kindly taking your seats. As I mentioned, we are going to be live streaming it from the G20 meeting room. And then we are going to be further part of those discussions and engaging and also extending our inputs through menti.com. There are going to be 2 questions which are going to be later in the course of this session, going to be flashed on your screen. Through Menti, we are going to be providing our inputs. So please be taking your seats. Thank you. Our Honorable Minister, Shri Jyotiraditya Scindia ji, leading us, guiding us in that session. We were further joined by the Secretary General of ITU, also the Director of the Telecommunications Standardization Bureau. Also gracing the days was our Secretary Telecommunications and the Chair of GSS 2024. And they are now going to be joining us. It's going to be a live streamed directly from the G20 Summit meeting room, from where we connect with them and we further engage with them. Further to it, we had a very short World Standards Day ceremony, which was further as we celebrate the ceremony, respecting and recognizing the very importance of standards in this ever-evolving digital world, and recognizing and appreciating the efforts of all those who are engaged in the development of these standards. A day which we have been observing since 1970, when this very idea of having a standardization body and having a standards day was mooted by 25 experts who met in London in 1946. 47, we had the formation of ISO. And from 1970, we started celebrating and observing this day. So this day stands extremely important for all who are in the room. Your efforts and your work is leading towards development of these standards, further harmonization of these standards in this interconnected world of ours.
1, 2.
Good morning, everyone. I think Honorable Minister is also about to come, and let's take our seats. I think Excellencies, if there are additional people who are escorting them, could also be called so that we settle down and start the function. So those of you who are still need to, looking for settling down, please settle down so that we can start the function.
Yes, sir. Once again, requesting you all to please settle down. We are going to be live streaming from the G20.
आई थिंक लेके आई जाएगी क्योंकि मेन काफी लोग नहीं आए हैं, काफी लोग सीट खाली हैं, काफी सीट अभी खाली है, तो उनका एक बार 2 मिनट और रुक जाइए, 2 मिनट और मैंने कर दिया.
Your support and your inputs to Menti. There are going to be questions which are going to be posted on the screen, and you are requested to give in your inputs. To enter Menti, you are requested to please log in on www.menti.com. There is a code which you have to enter, 14541965. Or, as we are going to be also shortly flashing the QR code, you are requested to scan the code and enter menti.com. In case we still have some esteemed speakers, the invited speakers who are part of the high-level segment discussions, may I request our representatives to please guide them in the G20 meeting room. Herein, requesting only the delegates and all the other esteemed participants to be kindly taking your seats at the earliest possible. So that's the meeting room, which you can see. We already have the stage being set towards this conversation between the industry and the ministers. This is the industry and ministerial leaders crafting the future of innovation, catalyzing change. As a theme which we have also the next wave of transformation. And towards this next wave of transformation, we have our leaders from the decision makers, the policy makers, and then the industry converging together. We are live streaming directly from the G20 meeting room. May I request once again all the people who had their tea and coffee to be kindly be taking your seats. Once again, apprising this August gathering that we are going to be also inviting your inputs during this session through Menti. There are going to be questions which are going to be flashed on the screen, and that is when through Menti you're requested to kindly extend your answer, your input. Your input is going to be helping in shaping the discussions and making this high-level segment even more engaging. So as you can see, we have our honorable ministers who are just being taken to their respective seats.
Dear interpreters, I hope you can hear me. I'm being introduced. Can you hear me?
What is missing now?
Ladies and gentlemen, excellencies, we will be starting the high-level segment. Good morning. I'm honored to be the master of ceremony for today's high-level segment. In the session, we will hear directly from ministers, CEOs, and global leaders as they share their insight on the future of innovation. As we are currently in the G20 summit room, I want to inform you that this high-level segment is being live-streamed to the meeting room B, where we had the opening ceremony this morning. So the audience in that room can follow along. And for the audience in room B, please note that the live stream will be in English only. If you wish to access interpretation services, you will need to connect via the online webcast. The Master of Ceremony in room B will provide further guidance. Please note that interpretation services are available in the 6 languages of the United Nations in this room, in the G20 summit room. We're pleased to inform you that the audience in room B will also have the opportunity to interact and participate via Menti questions. Your Master of Ceremony in meeting room B will guide you through that process. We will also be using a timer for the interventions and the answers to the questions in this room to make sure we can manage the time of our session. It is now my great pleasure to introduce Mr. Sezo Onoe, Director of the ITU Telecommunications Standardization Bureau, who will deliver the opening remarks. Onoe-san, please.
Thank you. And Excellencies, colleagues, and friends. This roundtable highlights what makes ITU so special and so important. We are the only UN agency with member companies and the only standards body with government members. New technologies are transforming our economies and how we live together. We need to help everyone navigate this transformation with confidence and certainty. This will demand synergy in the actions taken by government and industry players. ITU offers a unique platform to ensure this synergy. The consensus that we built while developing ITU standards creates a basis for meaningful public-private collaboration. This roundtable is certain to identify new opportunities for ITU to deliver this value. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Onoe-san, for your opening remarks. It is now my distinct honor to introduce our distinguished co-moderators for the session, Ms. Doreen Bogdan-Martin, Secretary General of the ITU, and Dr. Rajkumar, Chair of the Global Standards Symposium 24. They will guide us through this exciting and thought-provoking discussion. So get ready for an insightful session. Madam Secretary General, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Bilal, and good morning again, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this high-level segment of the ITU Global Standards Symposium. It's exciting to see such a distinguished group of leaders, and of course to also be in this amazing venue where many great things happened during India's G20 presidency. We have gathered here in this room, we have ministers, we have CEOs, we have industry leaders, we have heads of regulators, and we're here to discuss innovation. We're here to discuss the future of innovation under the theme, Catalyzing Change, industry and ministerial leaders crafting the future of innovation. So today, this morning, we're going to be diving into some of the most pressing issues facing global innovation. How can we strengthen collaboration across sectors so that we can harness the full potential of innovation and of new technologies? Before we kick off, I do want to give a special thanks to Sezo, the TSB director, for those inspiring remarks and for helping to shape today's discussion. And so with that, as Bilal has mentioned, I have the privilege of co-leading our session this morning, and I'm going to hand over to Dr. Rajkumar, please.
Thank you, Doreen. I'm especially excited for today's session as it takes place in New Delhi, a city at the heart of India's policy and digital revolution. As someone from the government, I have seen firsthand how collaboration between the public and the private sectors can drive remarkable innovation. And today, we'll hear from global leaders present here about how we can further accelerate this progress. Let's jump right into the conversation by hearing out from our first set of distinguished speakers. Doreen, back to you to introduce the first topic.
Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like the pressure's on. This is going to be interactive. We have a long list, but a great list of interveners. And we have structured this session into a series of questions. We'll also take a couple of breaks with Mentimeter polls. That's where we'll be engaging with the other room. So also stay tuned for that. So we're going to dive into the first question. And the first question looks at how you envision the future of innovation ecosystems and what can be done to strengthen collaboration between startups, between corporations and governments. So we have the minister who's going to start us off, and I'm just going to share the list of those that will intervene, and then I'm going to ask them one by one to share their thoughts. So we'll hear from His Excellency Minister Scindia, who spoke with us this morning. Honorable Minister, good morning. Then we're going to hear from His Excellence de Gabon, but I think he is not yet here. He's physically here somewhere, so he'll be joining us shortly. We'll hear from the Deputy Minister of Armenia. Welcome, Excellence. We also have a regulator that will respond on this session from the chair of the board from Brazil, Christian. Welcome. And so we will kick off the responses with the Honorable Minister. And just Bilal, if you can help me, each intervener will have how long? 2 to 3 minutes. So ladies and gentlemen, if you can help us try to I'm hearing 2 minutes. Okay, if we can try to keep time. Will there be a timer? Okay. All right. So with that, no pressure. Honorable Minister, you were talking before about how India has kind of shifted from being this service economy to a product economy. How do you get it done? Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Secretary General, and a very warm welcome to all our delegates from across 160 countries. I believe this is a record for the ITU WTSA as well. We have over 3,200 delegates. So once again, a very, very warm welcome to India. The question that has been posed by Secretary General and Mr. Upadhyay as the co-chairs is an extremely important one. It talks about how do we collaborate together to achieve the same end goal. And I strongly believe that the need for collaboration is extremely important, because the underlying precept is that in one's success lies everyone's success. And therefore, the fusion of ideas, resources, and expertise is today essential in terms of addressing global challenges. With that in mind, I think it's extremely important if you look at the strengths of each vertical. When you look at startups, their agility to bring about creative solutions. When you talk about corporations, their vast resources and market expertise. When you talk about governments, their regulatory framework and their funding support. When all of this works in unison, then the unachievable becomes achievable. And in India, we've tried to do that through 8 or 9 initiatives that we've done. The most important and recent is the Bharat 6G Alliance, where we have industry, academia, corporations, and government working together with the single-minded goal of contributing to the ITU in terms of standard setting. Our goal of at least contributing 10% of patents towards that perspective. Within our ministry, under the Prime Minister's guidance, we have set up 6 advisory groups for each vertical. I personally meet with every advisory group once every quarter or even more often to look at what the issues are, how we can resolve them, how we can take that forward. Third, we've also set up a technology telecom development fund, which today has invested in close to about 132 projects, almost about $70 to $80 million. Fourth, we've got the Startup India initiative, which has been started by the Government of India under the Prime Minister's prerogative, where we've invested close to about 140,000 startups in India, almost greater than 100 unicorns in India, creating almost about 1.5 million direct jobs. Fourth, we've also set up a fund of funds, a government fund which then invests in multiple funds that invest directly in startups, committed close to about $2 billion for that. Tax incentives have been set up for startups with a 3-year tax holiday for the first 7 years of operations. We've looked at the Digital India initiative, something that I talked about in my earlier address, where we've set up the Digital India Stack, the United Payment Interface, where close to $275 billion worth of transactions have taken place in 1 month alone, the last month of August, close to about 1,500 crore transactions. And we are, most importantly, the global outreach, which is the final point, where we are coordinating with countries across the world to be able to ensure that we share this knowledge, share this innovation, so as to impact social inclusion and accessibility for all. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Excellency, for those inspiring words. What a great example. So ladies and gentlemen, we'll turn now to Armenia. We have with us His Excellency, the Deputy Minister of High-Tech Industry from the Republic of Armenia. Over to you, sir, please.
Your Excellencies, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. The world today is becoming more digitalized and interconnected. So innovative solutions need to be more inclusive, flexible, and scalable. To foster and strengthen collaboration between startups, corporations, and governments, it is imperative to fully understand the potentials of ecosystems. We live in an era of innovation revolution where startups rely on ideas that become its driving force. Corporations have the expertise and resources to bring these ideas to international markets, and governments create an enabling environment for these ideas to come to life. For the effective operation of this system, it is necessary to promote mutually beneficial cooperation between all stakeholders and form a new level of partnership. Collaboration frameworks will be both physical and digital, allowing for real-time sharing of ideas, data, and resources. The role of governments in this matter is important, and they should encourage the creation of such platforms. The government of Armenia highly values public-private sector cooperation, which is certainly it's one of the most effective means of promoting innovation. Continuous investment and support is necessary to ensure the continued success of innovation ecosystems. This includes investment in research, education, and skills development, infrastructure, policies, and regulation that promote the sector. In summary, the future of innovation ecosystem will be shaped by digital transformation, global collaboration, emerging trends, and technology. Their success requires sustained investment and support that will boost innovation and economic growth. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you so much, Excellency, and welcome to His Excellency from Gabon. Excellency, I'll give you a moment. I'm going to turn to Aberynth, and then we'll come back to you, sir. We will now hear from the chair of the board of Aberynth, Brazil, which is the Brazilian Association of Internet and Telecommunications Providers. Christian, over to you, please.
Thank you, Secretary General Mr. Ring, and good morning for all colleagues. It's a great pleasure to be here back to India. One Earth, one family, and one future. We share a digital inequality paradox, and especially with those users whose true drift, sharing data without reflection. How much cost a minute of our own attention? If we thought even for a second about answering this question, this is precisely why collaboration is still the main word. We urge for improvements. Today, technology as it is not the only solution for deep-rooted human problems. We must redouble our efforts to support multi-stakeholder governments and acknowledge regulatory expectations. Brazil is living a proof of great outcomes from asymmetric and evidence-based regulation. We are having 55% of our fixed broadband services reliance on small ISPs companies. So in this sense, innovation is deeply motivated by meaningful connectivity and also unlicensed use of spectrum in 6 gigahertz band. Traditional approaches usually leads to status quo of innovation, but innovation is not a linear process. So many companies still fail to tap innovation ecosystems in their own backyards. So we must engage with economic institutions, non-government actors, investors, and governments. We have to breathe a collaborative journey through trust in order to create a self-sustaining market for the innovation ecosystems. Governments should enhance proper incentives and tools and deeply understand these stakeholders' roles. Thank you, Mr. Ring.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, just to let you know, we do have interpretation, and so feel free to use the headsets should you need interpretation.
Et maintenant, je vais passer la parole au ministre.
Now I will give the floor to the Minister of Gabon. Welcome. You have the floor, sir. Thank you. Could you remind me of the topic that we are talking about right now? I apologize. We are discussing innovation ecosystems. So could we have your point of view on how we can help these innovation systems, for example, in your personal experience in your country? Thank you for giving me the opportunity to take the floor on the issue of innovation. To innovate, we need to look at our strengths and weaknesses and take into account new needs. And to do that, we need to look internationally so that we can find the answers and meet new needs. Innovation requires international cooperation because it is thanks to international cooperation that we can share solutions which we can then implement in each of our states. As regards Gabon, in terms of innovation, we have implemented, thanks to international cooperation, the Smart Africa Digital Program and an innovation center. So we need the necessary financing, and international cooperation is very welcome. And of course, we're talking about standardization, and we also need to look at governance and regulation. Thank you. And I would also like to thank all those who have participated. Thank you very much, Your Excellency.
Of our first question, I do want to thank those that have intervened for those very important insights into how collaboration across sectors can drive innovation forward. I think it's clear that we have to work together to be able to create those thriving ecosystems. So thank you for that. Now we will move to our second question, and I'm going to hand to my co-moderator, Dr. Rajkumar. Over to you.
Thank you, Doreen. We had wonderful insights from our first set of speakers. Let's dive into our second topic. So the question for our leaders is, as leaders in your fields, how do you see digital transformation shaping the future, and what strategies should be prioritized to maximize its impact? Our speakers for this question are Mohammed Samarouk, Executive President, National Telecommunication Regulatory Authority, Egypt; Julissa Cruz Abreu, Executive Director, Dominic Institute of Telecommunication, Dominican Republic; Masakazu Yamashina, Corporate Senior Executive Vice President and Co-COO, NEC Japan. You each have 2 minutes to respond. So let's start with Mr. Samarouk. Your Excellency, please start us off.
Thank you, Your Excellency. لقد تبنت مصر خططا وطنية.
Egypt has adopted a national plan in order for continuing sustainability, and by putting a priority which also takes into account the vision of Egypt in 2030, and therefore the National Telecommunication Regulatory Authority works very closely with all of the resources in order to develop our communities, and also to come up with services, telecommunication services, to develop them that will go with all of our needs in our community. Therefore, we are working hard in order to bring Egypt digitally and develop Egypt digitally and fight corruption and work with all of the investments in order to bring about with all of the government bodies for working with the digital government and bringing about the digital government, and with human resources as well, so that we are able to develop Egypt digitally. On the national front, we will find also that many of the Egyptians now are living a very good livelihood, which works for inclusivity, digital inclusivity, and raises all of the power and energy in order to raise up the infrastructure as well. This is via connecting all of the cables, the fiber cables, and also building many towers and working for the telecommunications towers in order to develop the telecommunications and communications. And especially we are focusing on women and people on the marginalized people. It is also important to note that we are working hard on the infrastructure, which is very important in order to bring the digital connectivity of all Egyptians. And we are working on the design as well as the smart cities so that we are able to work on the sustainability of these systems and the development of these systems. We are also working in order to ensure they are of good quality, all of these communication systems, so that we are able to develop the services and offer the services which are being needed at high speeds and provide Wi-Fi in all of the public areas, relying on all of the latest innovations with regards to developing the provision of the electricity and gas and so on. We are also working on the vertical systems in order to make sure that all Egyptians are connected. For example, we have brought about a new system which continues to work with the projects so that we are able to move to smart systems. This relies on the latest developments in order to make sure that we are working on the digital transformation of the government with the needs to meet the needs of the citizens. I'm sorry, but the sound is not very clear. The interpretation is difficult because the sound is not clear.
لإتاحة عمليات التحول بين البنوك الأصلية على مدار 24 ساعة ثم أضمن الالتزام الكامل بكافة الضوابط الرقابية والمتطلبات الفنية المتصلة بأمن وخصوصية المعلومات وحماية حقوق العملاء. وختاما فإن هذه الجهود المتكاملة تؤكد التزام الدولة المصرية بتعزيز التحول الرقمي في كافة قطاعات المجتمع بما يحقق التنمية المستدامة والارتقاء بجودة حياة المواطنين، ونحن على يقين بأن هذه الاستراتيجيات ستمهد الطريق نحو مستقبل رقمي مشرق يعزز من تنافسية مصر على المستوى الإقليمي والعالمي. شكرا جزيلا.
Thank you, Mr. Sandberg. Digital transformation strategies are certainly very, very vital. Now we move on to Ms. Cruz. What's the perspective from Dominican Republic? Over to you.
Thank you for the opportunity. Los esfuerzos de transformación.
The digital transformation in the Dominican Republic is significantly impacting our levels of productivity and competitiveness. The actions of the Dominican state to improve digital infrastructure, in particular of new generation infrastructure, allows almost 70% of our population to connect to 5G networks. Promoting access and productivity of our advanced digital platforms means that there is a significant improvement of our economic competitiveness. The Dominican Republic has taken on the challenge of increasing the Dominican production before 2026. Digital productivity is a fundamental pillar to improve living conditions across all our productive sectors. The Dominican Republic is continuing to drive innovation in its Digital 2030 agenda. As part of this, we are seeking to improve national innovation, and we have developed strategies for AI. We are one of the countries in Latin America which is most developing in these areas, and we are in particular promoting technological innovation. Again, to really push forward these productive processes. It is very important, I think, to highlight that all of these resources and tools are principally based on developing the digital skills that our population has. We need people who are skilled, right? We need people who understand how our digital school works. They need to understand, and in order to do this, we need the right policies in place for socioeconomic development. Our technological development on all levels depends on our population and their skills. This is a major priority in order for us to achieve our digital goals.
Sharing that, it's exciting to see how transformation is being pursued in different regions. Now, Mr. Yamashina, please share your views.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So I'm coming from NEC Japan. We are doing the digital transformation business. Actually, we believe the digital transformation will have the big impact for the positive impact for the efficiency or productivity or security and bring the benefit for the all citizens. However, also there are the one important negative. For example, currently we have the seriously environment issues. For example, generative AI, that is a very, very great, technology, bring so much benefit for all the people. However, for example, the generative AI data centers consume so much power. It's a carbon negative. So we have to care about this kind of, negative impact by caused by the advanced technologies. But we have lots of technology to mitigate this kind of negative impact of the advanced technology. So the most important point, we have to understand the difference and the gap among each countries, each regions, each society. The gap is the cultures, regulation, and also phase of the technology implementation. So based upon this kind of common understanding, we have to share the information and also the reference of some advanced technology companies or countries. There are such kind of reference, and also the most important point in order to facilitate the communication, the standardization of the technology and making the roadmap. That is important. Thank you very much.
We apologize, but the sound quality is too poor to allow for interpretation.
Where we look, digital transformation is reshaping industries in profound ways. So thank you all for your thoughtful contributions. The path forward is digital transformation. That is very, very clear. Strategic partnerships and innovation will be the drivers of success. Now, for the next segment, I hand over to my co-moderator, Doreen.
Thank you. So we'll move from strategies to priorities in international cooperation for innovation. And I have four speakers for this question. We have His Excellency Minister Soli Malatsi from South Africa. We have the Deputy Minister from Burundi, Bienvenue. We have the Chair of the Regulator of Information and Communication Technologies from Turkey. Welcome, Omar. And we also have Global Esports Federation, the CEO, Paul Foster. Welcome, Paul. So we'll start first with His Excellency from South Africa, Minister Soli. Over to you, please.
Thanks very much for the opportunity and greetings to everyone in the room. I think it's first to start with harmonizing digital standards. This will enable the seamless operation of technologies and systems across different regions. Our view is that by collaborating to develop shared standards, nation can reduce fragmentation. They can also support the quicker uptake of new technologies globally and ensure economies of scale. Collaborating in this way will help to identify shared interest in the development of digital standards and promotes inclusive and multi-stakeholder engagements in standard and development processes. Secondly, inclusivity is essential for successful international collaboration on innovation. It helps stakeholders and standard development organizations to enhance both integrity and transparency in the development of standards.
This involves supporting the participation of civil society and, most importantly, other underrepresented actors in standard discussions, coordinating between standard development organizations to avoid unnecessary duplication and including international principles for digital technologies in standardizing processes where it is appropriate. Regions with limited access to digital infrastructure must also be involved in these discussions to ensure that they are not excluded from the benefits of technological advancements. For instance, by actively participating in initiatives like the African Continental Free Trade Area, South Africa will contribute to a more unified digital market across the continent. This will help facilitate easier cross-border digital trade, allowing African businesses to compete on the global standards. In addition, our view supported by the African Group and other developing countries is that due to limited resources, there is a lack of awareness of the ITU standards development work among smaller players in the private sector. To this effect, South Africa, through the African Group, is proposing a review of the WTSA resolutions to strengthen the collaboration framework and effective participation of the private sector from developing countries. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Excellency, and very specific points about reviewing that resolution in particular and strengthening our work in terms of bridging the standardization divide. Thank you, Excellency. So we'll now turn to the Deputy Minister from Burundi. Bonjour. Over to you, sir.
Bonjour.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, and thank you for giving me the floor. On behalf of the government of Burundi, and personally speaking, it is an honor for me to participate in this august meeting, which is the Global Standards Symposium and the WTSA 24. And I would like to extend my warm greetings to the government and people of India and to thank them for their warm hospitality and welcome in this wonderful city of New Delhi. For Burundi, we are currently working a lot. Well, as you're aware, we have a number of challenges of concern to us, particularly for Burundi and also more generally for Africa and the world as a whole. As regards international cooperation, and also for Burundi itself, we are working first and foremost on our regulatory framework so that we can improve it and also facilitate our cooperation with the entire world. That is to say, first of all, we're trying to ratify some conventions so that Burundi is in line with the rest of the world. And when we talk about digital transformation, we also need to understand that the issue of connectivity is important, and Burundi is a developing country, so we are looking at the issues of accessibility and connectivity, which encounters certain obstacles, for example, as regards the internet, and also we are looking at collaboration between Burundi and other countries, and we are trying to improve access to the internet in our country. I'm not sure whether I have much more time left, so I will stop here. Thank you. Thank you.
To Omar, Turkey, please, over to you, sir.
Thank you. ITU Secretary General Madame Doreen Bogdan-Martin, elected officials of ITU, distinguished chair, Dr. Rajkumar Upadhyay, honorable ministers, excellencies, distinguished participants. The list of priorities for international collaboration in innovation is a long one, but I believe one of the top priorities is building secure, resilient, and inclusive digital infrastructures. As digitalization drives global development, the rise in cybersecurity threats and the complexity of digital ecosystems pose significant challenges. Strengthening cybersecurity frameworks, ensuring data protection, and enabling secure integration of critical digital services are now shared global priorities. Adopting next-generation technologies and enhancing national capacities to build resilient infrastructures are essential steps toward accelerating global innovation and supporting a secure, inclusive digital transformation. Another key area for international cooperation is enabling interoperability. While easy to articulate, it's much harder to implement. It starts with developing globally accepted standards for network protocols, data formats, and security protocols. Additionally, reducing market entry barriers and harmonizing regulations for ICT products and services will promote competition, drive innovation, and lower consumer costs. Another top priority is enhancing research and development in emerging technologies such as AI, quantum computing, and 5G, 6G networks. This must go hand in hand with collaboration in ethical frameworks to ensure these technologies benefit humanity as a whole. Sharing best practices, transferring technology to developing countries, and creating platforms for open source collaboration foster innovation and bridge the digital divide for a better connected world. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And now we're going to turn to global esports. We'll hear from Paul Foster. Over to you, please.
Good morning, Madam Secretary General, co-chairs, ministers, excellencies, namaste. And we're so lucky at the Global Esports Federation to get to work with young people as part of our global development. In fact, gaming is much more than a game. Over 3.2 billion people are connected through gaming. The convening power of the ITU, the beautiful country of India, is a great example of our very first trip here to this great nation, where tomorrow we'll sign a 10-year strategic framework agreement to develop esports and gaming sustainably across India and the region. Our motto, World Connected, is our call to action, and I was thrilled by the Minister from India's comments in his intervention around startups, corporations and governments. And we're lucky, Mr. Minister, to work with all three. But I also, Madam Secretary General, wanted to mention some great examples of our progress that the ITU has inspired us. From our early days as a great entry point at AI for Good, we joined as members of the ITU, and it enabled us to contribute at STD Day. It enabled us to contribute at Summit of the Future and provide not the final, but the very first of our pledges to this great cause. 180 member federations have now joined our organization from our headquarters in Singapore. And 45 days ago, the International Olympic Committee announced the creation of the Olympic Esport Games. And I would like to congratulate the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, who will host the first games next year. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Paul. Very exciting. So that brings us to the end of that question, and really appreciate those inputs about the importance of engaging different stakeholder communities, the underrepresented groups in when it comes to standards, the importance of accessibility, the importance of connectivity, which is at our core, the security issues, resilience, interoperability, and of course, ethical frameworks and much, much more. Thank you for that. So ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to call on our friends and colleagues over in room B, because we're going to have our first mentee question for them, which is then going to be shared back with us. So that first question for them is as follows. Which emerging technology will have the most transformative impact on your country or industry in the next 5 years? The options are artificial intelligence, quantum computing, Internet of Things, blockchain, metaverse/virtual worlds, biotechnology, or other.
So think about it here, but this is where we're engaging with Room B, and we look forward to hearing their thoughts as we look to the future. And so with that, while everybody's filling out the Menti in the other room, I'm going to hand back to my co-moderator, please.
Thank you, Doreen. Now we'll explore the balance between regulation and innovation. How carefully regulation need to be brought in so that it doesn't stifle innovation. So our next question in that regard is, how do we envision the balance between regulation and innovation, particularly in fast evolving industries like AI, biotechnology, and digital finance? So our speakers for this segment are His Excellency, Mr. Shahim Babayev, Deputy Minister of Digital Development of Transport of Republic of Azerbaijan, Ana Gomez, Commissioner, FCC, United States of America, Jim Jamlin, Executive Director, Linux Foundation. So let's start with Deputy Minister Babayev. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your question, and good morning to all. Striking the right balance between regulation and innovation is crucial, especially in rapidly evolving fields like AI, beyond technology, and digital finance. And too much regulation can stifle innovation. On the other side, too little oversight can lead to ethical concerns, security risks. In my view, flexible and adaptive regulatory approach is essential to foster growth while managing risk. One proven example is regulatory sandbox, which companies to test new products before launching them more broadly within controlled environment. In Azerbaijan, we have introduced our own sandbox framework for testing new innovative financial products. This year alone, our first sandbox cohort saw over 20 applications. This sandbox model could be expanded to other industries like artificial intelligence. However, each industry requires a tailored regulatory framework. For example, cybersecurity requires more strict controls for protecting sensitive data. So answering your question, regulation should be risk-based. The higher the risk, the more strong regulatory measures. But it's important not to burden business with unnecessary legislative complexity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Your perspectives on regulation are really very insightful. Now we would love to hear from Ms. Gomez from FCC that how does the FCC approach the balance between regulation and the innovation?
Thank you very much, both for the invitation to speak today, to our distinguished moderators, as well as to our host country for your warm welcome to your beautiful country. The United States Federal Communications Commission has long navigated the evolution of technology and its impact on the way we communicate. From the development of mobile phones, to the advent of the smartphone, to the adoption of satellite for wireless communications, to ever-evolving broadband technologies. That said, the pace of innovation and adoption continues to rapidly increase, which presents, of course, a new set of challenges. My priority is ensuring that technological innovations benefit consumers for economic prosperity and security. Whether it's artificial intelligence, new ways to use spectrum, or any other emerging technology, the governing principle should remain the same: protect the public interest while allowing innovation to flourish. When we achieve this balance, consumers can leverage new technologies to achieve better outcomes in all areas of their lives. So, to achieve this balance, I seek to engage experts and innovators to learn about emerging technologies and how they will operate. In speaking with these experts, I ask questions to ensure I understand the most significant technical innovations taking place, while also gaining an understanding of how these changes practically impact consumers' lives. I keep top of mind that consumers are best served by a competitive market, and the role for regulators is to step in when the public is being harmed or is somehow constrained artificially from collecting the benefits promised by innovation. An example includes demanding accessibility for people with disabilities is built into technology by design. Striking this balance requires to prioritize consumers while not unnecessarily hampering innovation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gomez. Regulatory balance is, of course, very crucial, especially for the industries which are fast evolving. Now we move on to Mr. Jamlin. What's your take on this topic of regulation?
We are afraid that the sound quality is too low to allow for interpreting at this time.
It's with great humility and honor that I'm able to provide a perspective from the open source community. You know, the world of open source and standards are coming together. The convergence of open source at the Linux Foundation and standards work that's happening here at the ITU are critical. Together, these are two pillars for balancing innovation and regulation in today's fast-growing market. It's not just about keeping up with tech. It's about unlocking the potential of technology like AI to meet the UN's Sustainable Development Goals. Open source is a massive piece of this puzzle. You know, a recent Harvard survey showed that the demand side value of open source software is a staggering $9 trillion. That's what all of companies around the world and governments would need to pay for software, if not for open source. Open source represents about 80 to 90% of the code in most modern technology products and services. To give you examples, today at the Linux Foundation, we're home to projects like PyTorch, Kubernetes, Linux. These are fundamental building blocks to build large language models. Our Hyperledger project is being used here in India in areas around central bank digital currency and the digital rupee. What may surprise you is we're also a large standards body. We're home to RISC-V, the world's largest and our world's fastest growing semiconductor technology. We're home to the Open Container Initiative, a cloud interoperability specification. We're home to C2PA, a specification that is used to root out deep fakes in artificial intelligence platforms and more. But the key message I want to stress to all of you today in striking this balance between innovation and regulation is that we need all of you. Open source communities, downstream practitioners of tech need standards. Standards provide the infrastructure for the global economy to function. Standards ensure international trade, compatibility, consumer trust. Without them, the global technology industry would be in chaos. Standards bodies offer the governance and safety frameworks, while open source gives the agility we need to keep up with emerging technologies. By aligning open source communities with standards organizations, we can balance innovation and safety and regulation, security and stability. Look at what we're doing today with the ITU, where we're partnering on digital wallet technology. Linux Foundation is hosting the software implementation, while the ITU provides a way to convene. We're working on a project with GSMA. Our Kamara project has brought together a group of major mobile operating companies that are standardizing APIs and offering new services and technology. We need to deepen our collaboration between open source and standards bodies like the ITU. Together, we can build frameworks that foster innovation while serving global interoperability and improving our collective cybersecurity. We can work with regulators together to foster innovation and regulation. I'd like to invite all of you to work together to create a truly inclusive digital future. And I want to finally thank the ITU for their leadership in reaching out to the open source community and having us come to events like this. We're deeply grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jamlin. Striking the right balance between fostering innovation and ensuring regulation, responsible regulation, will be the key to unlock the full potential of the emerging industries which we are witnessing. So with this, we come to the end of this particular question. Thank you, all our speakers, for your insights. leveraging emerging technologies to address these critical global challenges is not just a vision, it's necessity for our collective future. Over to you, Doreen, for the next set of topic.
Thank you. So now we're going to move to an important question on challenges. What is your vision for leveraging emerging technologies to address global challenges such as climate change, healthcare, education, managing urbanization, and enabling digital equality? So with that, I'm going to introduce our speakers for this question. We have Her Excellency Minister Ursula Owusu-Ekuful. She's the Minister of Communications and Digitization from Ghana. We also have His Excellency, the Deputy Minister of Digital Technologies from the Republic of Uzbekistan. That's His Excellency Maksudov. Welcome, sir. And we also have the co-founder and Chief Executive Officer of Skylo Technologies, Mr. Trivide. And finally, we have the CEO and founder of Kido Dynamics, Alberto Hernando de Castro. And so with that, Minister Ursula, you're up first. Over to you, please.
Thank you, Secretary General. My vision for leveraging these technologies begins with harnessing the power of data and digital infrastructure. Developing robust digital ecosystems enables better climate modeling and predictive analytics to combat climate change. Through IoTs and smart grid technologies, we can optimize energy consumption, significantly reducing our carbon footprint and fostering a sustainable future. In the realm of healthcare, the convergence of AI, telemedicine, and blockchain technology can revolutionize patient care and medical records management. AI-driven diagnostics and personalized treatment plans promise enhanced healthcare outcomes, while telehealth expands access to medical services for underserved and rural populations. Blockchain ensures the security and integrity of patient data, fostering trust in digital health systems. Urbanization brings the challenge of creating smart, resilient cities. Leveraging IoT and AI can transform urban planning and management, leading to intelligent transport systems, efficient waste management, and enhanced